Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is discussion of model test paper and this is last part of the first paper, and we started uploading model or mock test papers from last Saturday, and this is the last part of the discussion. And as we go forward, the difficulty level we are going to increase gradually. And before going into the discussion part, I would like to remind you this subscription rates, or you can say these subscription rates are available up to 7th April, and as we have already mentioned, the 18% GST is made explicit, so therefore 18% increase will be there from 8th April. So friends, whoever joins prior to 7th April, or you can say up to 7th April, they are with this plans, right? And if someone is joining from 8th April, then the new tariff structure is this, and have a glance at it and take the decision accordingly. Let us leave this discussion here. Let us go on to the first question, and here about this public credit registry. Public credit registry is by Reserve Bank of India, and I would like to spend 1 minute on each question because total 36 questions are there, and my part comprises both economy and current affairs. So from current affairs and economy part, there are 36 questions in this first paper, and I would like to go one by one. I would like to be brief, just 1 minute on each question. This is about public credit registry. There is no threshold limit. There will not be any threshold limit. Please don't forget, public credit registry means it will have entire 360-degree view from various organizations, or you can say Ministry of Corporate Affairs, through the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, from various other regulators also. It will have total 360-degree view of both individuals and companies. This is the important point, and it is applicable for all types of borrowers. Absolutely correct. And at present, RBI maintains borrower level information for the loans of rupees 5 crore and above, and most of you are familiar with CRILC. I need not explain, so please correct the third statement. 1 and 2 are correct here. Look at the next one. Adjusting the repo rates, open market operations, dollar rupee buy sell swap auction. And here, which of the above tools are used regularly? This word is very important. Regularly we use this repo rates. In fact, yesterday itself repo rate was reduced from 6.25% to 6%. And open market operations, this is also a regular feature. So friends, as the sentence states regularly, this is wrong. It is not a regular feature. What we discussed previously with regard to dollar rupee buy sell swap auction, this is implemented for the first time in this country by sucking $5 billion, and this is not regular affair, right? So friends, here 1 and 2 is correct. Third one is wrong. Why it is wrong? I explained to you, because the statement mentions regularly, very important. 1 and 2 are regular, 3 is not regular. For the first time it is implemented, and about this we deliberated in detail. Right, next one, data mirroring. This is into the news because Reserve Bank of India said online payment companies like Visa, MasterCard, they should store the data within the country, and it has not allowed data mirroring also. What is data mirroring? Data mirroring means the data can be kept at various places. That means the copies of the data can be taken to various destinations. So please correct the first one. Here it is mentioned 2 locations only. Second is RBI allows data mirroring for online payment firms. Absolutely wrong. RBI said you have to store data within the country. Data mirroring is also not allowed. The meaning of data mirroring is multiple copies at various locations. Very, very important. Friends, neither 1 nor 2 is correct. Then consider with regard to share buybacks. Here the catch is many students may confuse with the second statement. Here, all of you are familiar. Share buybacks are done by the public sector entities, and when share buybacks is done, that will become part of the disinvestment proceeds. Absolutely correct. No one should have any doubt, whoever are appearing for UPSC Prelims. But the second statement, you see, through the share buybacks, the ownership of Government of India in these public sector entities will reduce is absolutely wrong. Normally, the ownership of the Government of India in these public sector entities will remain as it is. Prior to share buyback, if the government shareholding is 60%, after the share buyback also, normally it will be 60% only. So friends, many will have the wrong notion that with the share buybacks, government shareholding will reduce. Absolutely wrong. Right friends, one only. I explained about share buyback in a detailed way through various lectures of learning space. Look at the next one. Increased formalization of the economy. And it is very simple question. Implementation of GST, because of that what happened? Please don't forget. It is increased formalization. Some people say it is forced formalization. Let us not go into that debate, but it led to increased formalization and accordingly increase in the direct tax collections. Naturally, when increased formalization is there, then automatically direct tax collections will also increase. Right friends? So increased formalization, increase in the direct tax collections. Third one is not related to GST, but one important aspect is in recent times, contract workers are increasing. Please keep it in mind. In the organized sector, or you can say in the formal sector, contract workers are increasing. This is unfortunate aspect. And don't forget about gig economy. Don't forget about the increase of the contract workers in the organized sector or formal sector. But that is not related with the GST. So friends, 1 and 2 are correct here. Look at the next one about $5 billion USD INR buy, sell, swap auction. Right friends, this increases foreign exchange reserves of the nation. Absolutely correct. The government has resorted to $5 billion of buy, sell, swap. And here the foreign exchange reserves will increase by $5 billion, but that is for the tenor of the swap. Tenor means period of the swap. Period of the swap is 3 years. So friends, during this period of the swap, foreign exchange reserves will increase. Banks have to buy back the same dollars after the tenor. Absolutely correct. And the methodology used is forward premium. Then the rupee infusion through this mechanism is similar to open market operations. When one looks at duration of infusing liquidity, here is the catch. The catch is open market operations are basically the mechanism to infuse liquidity for shorter duration. But when you look at this rupee infusion, this is for longer duration of 3 years. So there is a major difference. That's why the third statement is wrong and 1 and 2 are correct. Right friends, students should have clear idea about this swap auction. Students should have clear idea about India-Japan bilateral arrangement with regard to hard currency. Then the third important aspect is the students should have clarity about angel tax. These are very important from your examination perspective. Common service centers. Simple question. Here these are intended for rural and remote areas. Most of you are well aware. And these are established in PPP model. This is also correct. And only deliver G2C services. Absolutely wrong. They also deliver B2C services in addition to the government services. G2C, B2C also. Next, they charge for the services provided, but minimum charge. But they charge for the services provided. So friends, here 1 only is correct. Right, common service centers, right? And one important aspect, don't forget, Swabhiman, right? That program of the sanitary napkins. One should not forget CSC or Common Service Centers, when one looks at Stri Swabhiman pertaining to the low cost sanitary napkins, right? Next one is twin pit toilets, right? And this is considered as one of the solution for the disposal of septage. Septage, what is it? The waste from septic tank is a septage. Disposal of septage is the problem. And the most important aspect is it is guideline, not mandatory. Second is it converts the human waste into compost, which is harmless, pathogen free, and act as great organic fertilizer. Absolutely correct. Then the next important aspect is both the pits can be operated simultaneously. Absolutely wrong. One pit is to be operated. Once it is filled, close it, seal it, then operate the second one. This is the concept of twin pit toilets, and the waste in the first pit that will be converted into this organic compost, or you can say compost, which is harmless, pathogen free, and can act as great organic fertilizer. Right friends, 2 only is correct here. Students should have clarity about certain aspects. Under Swachh Bharat mission, there was a Bandh, then this twin pit toilets, ODF plus, ODF plus plus, then most important, Omni processor, that is the initiative of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, don't forget. And friends, these are important when one looks at Swachh Bharat mission. About Omni processor, we will discuss in the subsequent classes. Right, let us move on. Angel tax, very important, and a question may be twisted when the investments are by non-residents, no angel tax. When the investment is by the listed companies above net worth of at least 100 crores or turnover of at least 250 crores, no angel tax. These 2 things please don't forget. Second thing, most of you are well aware about 10-year limit, and it should not exceed 100 crores of turnover for the startups. Then third one is it is up to 25 crores. These things I already deliberated. And look at the statements. It is to be paid by the startups wherever applicable. Absolutely correct. It is applicable only for private limited companies. Absolutely wrong. As per the guidelines, it is for unlisted companies. Unlisted companies can be private limited or public limited. That is the catch in the second statement. Third statement, of course, the net worth and turnover both are given wrong. Right friends, 1 only is correct here. Look at the next one about non-performing assets. First statement is correct. Here, NPAs are showing declining trend after reaching the peak in recent times. Absolutely correct. They reached peak. They started slightly declining. Right. This statement is very important because this is the recent development during the past few quarters. Then introduction of insolvency and bankruptcy code. That is the main reason, and it tilted the balance of power. In fact, please correct the second statement. It tilted the balance of power from the debtors to the creditors. Very important. Creditors became powerful. Power shift from the debtors, or you can say borrowers to the lenders. The power is shifted, or you can say debtors to the creditors. The power is shifted. Friends, 1 only is correct here. Look at the next one about Golan Heights. Straightforward. This question is very simple. It is the disputed region between Syria and Israel. Israel occupied it in 1967 from Syria. Dead Sea abuts Golan Heights. Absolutely wrong. It is Sea of Galilee. Please don't forget. Sea of Galilee abuts Golan Heights. And Sea of Galilee is in Israel. Don't forget. It also shares boundary with both the Lebanon, Jordan. So friends, on one side Lebanon and on the other side Jordan, this Golan Heights share boundary. Right friends, 1 and 3 are correct here. Then during the past 5 years, cess and surcharge, they increased Very important, right? This statement is absolutely correct, because this cess and surcharge center need not share with states, and in recent times cess and surcharge increased, substantial increase. Then when cess and surcharge increases, the devolution to the states as percentage of gross tax revenue to the center decreases. Both the statements are correct, simple statements, please remember. Then Planning Commission got the power of transferring financial resources to the states. Planning Commission has got power for transferring financial resources to the states. You can say centralized planning, whereas Niti Aayog has got no resource transferring power. Most of you are well aware. And with the 14th Finance Commission, untied funds to the states increased substantially. Absolutely correct. What is the meaning of untied funds? That means states will have freedom to utilize money for whatever purpose they want. Planning Commission era known for tied funds. If it gives money, states have to use for specific purpose, and more tied funds in those days. Now more untied funds. Very important, all three statements are correct. Look at the next one about real estate investment trusts. Friends, REITs can invest in commercial property. Please correct the first one. REITs can invest only in commercial property. Very important. Then these are regulated by SEBI. Absolutely correct. And there is a catch here. The structure and working of REIT, to be specifically speaking, is not similar to mutual funds. There are some similarities, but the structure and working, it is different from mutual funds. So there is a catch, right friends? Whenever we are discussing REITs in the economy lecture, I will elaborate this. But one important aspect is structure and working of REIT, not similar to mutual funds, but both have got some similarities, right? So friends, here 2 only is correct. Look at the next one about generalized system of preferences. This is into the news because United States of America gave 60-day notice, right? India is the largest beneficiary, most of you are well aware, and out of more than $45 billion of exports, India, USA, if you see, India's exports to USA more than $45 billion. Out of that, around $5.5 billion, to be specifically $5.6 billion, they enjoy GSP benefits. So therefore, this second statement is wrong. It cannot be 50%. If you calculate correctly, it may come to around 12-13% or so. Then at present, the benefits under GSP pertains to only goods. Very, very important aspect. It is not applicable for services, only goods. Please correct the third one. So friends, one only is correct. Then look at the following statements in the context of 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which is known as 10% quota for the poor, and Indian Constitution allows, after this 103rd Amendment Act, Indian Constitution allows provisions for social, educational and economic backwardness. Friends, through 103rd Amendment, this economic backwardness was added. Please correct the second one. And quota for the poor, that is affirmative action, or other word I would like to tell you, positive discrimination. Positive discrimination is nothing but affirmative action, right friends? Please correct the second one, and 1 and 3 are correct. Look at the next one. Here, simple question. 100% FDI is allowed only in marketplace model, but not in inventory model of e-commerce. Primarily, e-commerce has got 2 models. One is marketplace model, second one is inventory model. 100% FDI is allowed in marketplace model only. And Amazon, Walmart owned Flipkart. These are examples of marketplace model. Please don't forget. So friends, both the statements are wrong here. Then Indian accounting standards, Ind AS. This is into the news. And friends, first statement is absolutely wrong. These are not the same as international financial reporting standards, because in India there was a lot of opposition to make same as international financial reporting standards. But as a via media measure, it was agreed, let us make Indian accounting system standards, popularly known as Ind AS, to align with international financial reporting system. At the most, you can say Ind AS is to align with international financial reporting system standards, and these are made applicable to NBFCs up to this extent. It is correct. But insurance companies, banks, they are yet to be made applicable. Right, friends? Please correct the first one. So let me tell you, it is made applicable in a phased manner to the companies since 2016. The new accounting standards, Ind AS, in a phased manner, they were made applicable to the companies in a phased manner since 2016. Second one, since last year, they were made applicable for NBFCs. But to the banks and insurance companies, they are yet to be made applicable. Banks and insurance companies, they are not yet applicable. Right, friends? Here, third statement is correct, and 1 and 2 please correct. I explained you everything. Then Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan, you can expect one question at least from these two schemes. Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan, at the same time PM Kisan. Right, if you look at Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan, it is applicable for agricultural laborers also. Right, friends, this is applicable basically for all the unorganized sector workers. So friends, this agricultural laborers also comes under unorganized sector workers. Right, so please correct the first one. It is applicable for agricultural laborers also. Second, it is applicable only for unorganized sector. For organized sector, it is not applicable, and with monthly income of rupees 15,000 or less, and the eligibility for entry age is 18 to 40 years. Most of you are familiar. Then if the subscriber dies during the period of pension, spouse of the beneficiary will get half the pension. Right, friends? 2 only is correct here. Look at the next one about electoral bonds. Right, about the electoral bonds, I will discuss in detail with regard to various norms as far as electoral funding is concerned in the lecture of policies and programs. There are several changes made with regard to the funding to the political parties, right? That we will discuss in the policies and programs lecture. And donations can be made by any artificial juridical person. That means artificial juridical person. What is the meaning of it? The meaning is companies, right? And it indicates even foreign donations are allowed. Absolutely correct. About this, I will explain in detail in the policies and programs when we discuss electoral bonds and other mechanisms pertaining to donations to the political parties. Then the information about the purchase of the electoral bonds is neither known to the common citizen nor to the central government is absolutely wrong. It is not known to the common citizen, but the information is known to the central government. Please correct the second one. These bonds vitiate the norm of compelling public interest. Absolutely correct. These vitiate the norm of compelling public interest. All these words I will explain in policies and programs. Right, friends? Here 1 and 3 are correct. Look at the next one about Aadhaar payment bridge system. And here the catch is, students may get confused with the first statement. Here you see mapper. What is mapper? Aadhaar payment bridge system. There is one mapper which maintains the repository of Aadhaar numbers. the Aadhaar numbers repository. Suppose if PM Kisan is to be implemented, that is made possible through the mapper with Aadhaar framework. That means the repository of Aadhaar numbers that is available with whom? That is available with NPCI. Please correct the first statement. In the Aadhaar payment bridge system. And please don't forget how the gas subsidy is going into the bank accounts. That is through the Aadhaar payment bridge system, right? And the mapper is nothing but which is the collection of this Aadhaar numbers, and that is maintained by NPCI. Very important. Students may get confused after seeing UIDAI. This is quite intelligent statement, right? Please correct the first one. Then if there are multiple accounts, if I have 3 accounts, then APBS, Aadhaar Payment Bridge System, automatically transfers money to the latest account. Please correct the second one. So friends, neither 1 nor 2. The catch is there in the first statement, most important. Mapper, which is the repository of Aadhaar numbers, is maintained by NPCI, don't forget. Bumphead Parrotfish. This is into the news because it is to be legally protected. That means at present it is not legally protected in our country, and it causes bio-erosion, and this bio-erosion has got positive consequences on the coral reefs. Very, very important. Please correct it. This bumphead parrotfish, which causes bio-erosion, that has positive consequences on the coral reefs. That means it benefits coral reefs in a positive way. Then it is vulnerable as per IUCN status. Only the second statement is correct. Then when one looks at trade or marketing policies in agriculture, very important. We deliberated number of times in the editorial. And please don't forget, because of trade policies, because of marketing policies, farmer is at loss. So therefore you can say trade and marketing policies here biased towards the consumer. Absolutely correct. They are biased towards the consumer than the farmer. Absolutely correct. Second statement, minimum support prices benefit more than 50% of the farmers. Absolutely wrong. And we learned number of times the direct income support that benefits more. Loan waivers benefit around 30% of farmers. And please don't forget, because of minimum support prices, benefit is going to around 10 to 12% of farmers. Why? Because of lack of procurement mechanism, lack of enforcement mechanism of minimum support prices. So friends, direct income support benefits more farmers than the loan waivers or minimum support price mechanisms. 1 and 3 are correct here. So second statement, please correct. The first statement is, when one looks at trade or marketing policies in agriculture, Indian policies are biased towards the consumer. Most important statement. Women representation in Lok Sabha, I would like to spend a few seconds. We are going to have 17th Lok Sabha elections during April and May. And in the 16th Lok Sabha, the women representation is the highest after independence. Absolutely correct. It is almost half of the global average. Friends, 1 only is correct. And around 11.5%. That is the representation of women, right? And Sagarmala, very simple question. Sagarmala looks at the livelihoods of the fishermen, also very, very important, right? And coastal economic zones. These are cluster-based development. These are part of Sagarmala. Sagarmala also looks at the coastal shipping, inland waterways. So friends, there are number of facets of Sagarmala. Port-based industrial development. That is the main concept of Sagarmala. And the linking of the ports with good network of roads, railways. Right. So these are the important aspects. It also looks at livelihoods of the fishermen, right? So first part is correct. Majority of the projects are proposed to be executed in PPP mode. Absolutely correct. The first coastal economic zone is planned in Maharashtra. Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust will act as node, but it is the cluster based development, or you can say this is cluster based mega investment. When one looks at coastal economic zone, please don't forget. Please correct the third one. 1 and 2 are correct. Look at the next one about nitrogen pollution. Nitrogen pollution is into the news in recent times. Quite often, atmospheric nitrogen, it is not dangerous and it is normally considered as inert. But nitrogen is dangerous when it is released as part of the compounds, very important. And how they are released? They are released because of the burning of fossil fuels, because of untreated sewage, dumping of septage, because of livestock manure, excessive use of this chemical fertilizers. So these are all resulting in the release of nitrogen as compounds. When nitrogen is released as compounds, then it is dangerous. Why it is dangerous? Because nitrous oxide is around 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide when one looks at global warming. Friends, 1 and 3 are correct here, and nitrogen pollution is one important aspect because it came into the news in recent times. And second important aspect which is into the news in recent times is missiles. In recent times, missiles is in fact increasing globally, even in the advanced countries. Such type of things, when they are into the news, becomes potential question, important question for UPSC. Then exercise Sea Whistle. Most of you have heard about it because exercise Sea Whistle was conducted under the overall supervision of Indian Navy. And why it is conducted? To look at the preparedness of our security agencies for the intrusions through the sea route, or you can say through the water route, right? So here it is the largest coastal defense exercise, absolutely correct. It is to examine countries' preparedness for maritime security. 1 decade, please correct it, Mumbai attacks occurred in 2008. 1 decade passed. During this 1 decade, what is our preparedness? To look into it, it was done. Then Indian Coast Guard. This is the agency responsible, absolutely wrong. In fact, the agency overall responsibility is Indian Navy, please don't forget, for our maritime security. Whether it is coastal security or offshore security, overall marine security is with Indian Navy, don't forget. And friends, 1 only is correct. Then India's goal here, friends, the catch is in the first statement. It is elimination, not eradication. There is a huge difference between elimination and eradication, right? And please look for the difference. And India's goal is here to eliminate tuberculosis by 2025. But in the statement it is mentioned eradication, that is the catch. And bedaquiline, delamanid, albendazole. Bedaquiline is correct. Delamanid is correct. These 2 are the medications prescribed for the drug-resistant tuberculosis. They are not available in our country. They are in fact available in few numbers. And albendazole is different. That is given for controlling the intestinal worms, right? And National Deworming Day, please recollect. India accounts for the highest global burden of tuberculosis. Absolutely correct. Look at the next one. Large hydro projects now brought under the category of renewable energy. And prior to this, renewable energy accounts for the installed capacity. When you see in the installed capacity, prior to the classification, renewable energy is around 1/5. Now it became 1/3, around 34-35%, right? So with this change in classification, the renewable energy accounts for almost 1/3 of the share in the installed capacity of the power sector, absolutely correct. And after the change in classification, topmost hydro, then wind, then solar. Please correct this statement, and one only is correct. Then selective catalytic reduction, SCR. A question may be expected on this SCR because it is into the news, because country is switching over to Bharat Stage 6 norms from 1st April 2020. How to reduce pollution in the diesel engines. This is the important point, and it is primarily used in diesel engines. This is selective catalytic reduction, and it is primarily used in the diesel engines to reduce the pollutants in the emissions, absolutely correct. Through this process, primarily this is wrong. Nitrogen oxides will be in fact controlled primarily, and its effect mainly on the nitrogen oxides. More than 90% will be removed. And if you look further, hydrocarbons as well as carbon monoxide, they will be removed up to the extent of around 50 to 80% or so. Exact figures are not that important. What is important is with the selective catalytic reduction, which is removed the most, nitrogen oxides, then hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, then part of this particulate matter will also be removed. So primarily this is the catch. So one only is correct here. Look at the next one about red corner notice. Quite often you come across red corner notice as well as the other term extradition. These two quite often you hear, right? It is an international arrest warrant, absolutely wrong. It is not international arrest warrant. Second, it makes mandatory. This is also absolutely wrong. It is not mandatory on the member countries to arrest the fugitive, absolutely wrong. Subsequent extradition depends on extradition treaty. This is the only right statement here. Look at the next one about regional anti-terrorist structure. Most of you are familiar about this, RATS. It is part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but it is permanent organ, it is not temporary organ. Then the executive committee sits at Tashkent, not at Beijing. Though SCO is based in Beijing, but executive committee of RATS sits at Tashkent. And through this RATS mechanism, joint exercises will be held, and India and Pakistan both will participate. This is the important point. It initiates joint military exercises. So friends, 3 only is correct here. Area of separation. This is between Israel and Syria. We are talking about Golan Heights. Area of separation is there. That is pertaining to Golan Heights. That means Israel army should not cross one particular point, and Syrian troops, they cannot cross one particular point. In between that area is area of separation that pertains to Golan Heights. Then demilitarized zone. Most of you are well aware. North Korea and South Korea, there is demilitarized zone. Backstop. Backstop is the real problem as far as UK coming out of European Union is concerned. This is absolutely correct. Then buffer zone, or you can say green line. This is in Cyprus. And this is the separation between Turkish Cyprus and Greece Cyprus. Right friends, all 4 are correct. Sometimes these may be important. And ETFs and mutual funds, exchange traded fund. Government often takes the route of exchange traded fund for the disinvestment. Right, Bharat 22 ETF is there. Central Public Sector Enterprises ETF is there. What are the similarities between ETF and mutual funds? Here, both are passive investments. They are not active investments. If you are investing in Infosys share, that is active investment. If you are investing in mutual fund, it is passive investment. Right, and both indicate ownership of the underlying assets. Absolutely correct. Then both are traded in the stock exchanges. Absolutely wrong. Exchange traded funds are traded in the stock exchanges, but not mutual funds. Friends, 1 and 2 are correct. Then common risk mitigation mechanism or CRMM. What is it? This is part of International Solar Alliance, don't forget. And World Bank is developing this CRMM framework. Please correct the second statement. It acts as pooled insurance to minimize the risks in the renewable energy projects. Absolutely correct. This is some sort of pooled insurance. Friends, 1 and 3 are correct. Then look at my last question. This is Guam Island. This is of United States of America. It is in the Pacific Ocean. It is being threatened quite often by North Korea. Because of that, it is into the news. Then Manus Island. Manus Island is of Papua New Guinea, where Australia and United States of America are going to develop naval facilities there. It is into the news. This is also in Pacific Ocean region. Jumeirah Islands. This is in the Red Sea and this is not in Pacific Ocean, right? This is also into the news. Please look for why it is into the news, right friends? 1 and 2 are correct here. Right friends, this concludes today's discussion and this is the final part, and today's discussion revolved around two things. One is economy related and current affairs related. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.